like that's going to help come the fall when y'all are able to still host all the visitors?
No, there was no fault to that. We just, again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just our philosophy here, or my philosophy, and what I believe in. I think we've done all right. We've done okay, and so we just believe in what we believe, and we have our process. Like everybody has a process, the way they do things, and to each his own on how you want to do it. But for me, kids that are really interested, they'll come see you, and if they're not coming, if they can't come on their own, they're probably not going to come for 4 years. And for us, it's just been something. I mean, it's not just this year. It's been, I don't know, last 4 years, or however long it's been that you could do the official visits. And I've just always believed in doing that in the fall, and so that's just what I believe. It doesn't mean I'm right. It's just what we believe here. It's what we do, and we've done okay with our process.
Dabo, do you ever worry about maybe the kid that wants to come on an unofficial visit, but they simply just don't have the funds, don't have the economic ways to get here on their own?
Yeah, well, they can be patient. We'll bring them in, when we get to that time. I mean, we've done that. We've had guys like that. We do official visits, but we just have a time that we do that. And again, some people do spring practice in February. Some people do it in April and May. It's to each your own on how you want to go about your business and run the program. But that's just what we do.
You guys were able to nail down a new deal for Brent. How important was that to get done before the season?
Yeah, I mean, that was done back in April or not April, February. But there's always a process with the board and all that stuff, but it was good to be able to finalize that, and he's pretty much been on a 5-year deal every year. We just add the year back, and but he's so deserving. He's just done a phenomenal job. He turned down a major head coaching job this year, and to stay here, and he was not the highest paid assistant in the country last year. He was right there at it. There was, I think, actually a couple guys ahead of him. So he's the highest paid assistant out there, and I think has earned that.
But Tyson, do you have a timetable or a target date that you're hoping
No, just whenever he's ready. But I think, like I said, he's doing great. I mean, we're very optimistic that he'll be back sooner than later.
Coach, you have such a deep tight end room and so much talent there. Luke Bryce had a really good season in 2019 before he tore his ACL and he's kind of been lost in the shuffle going through his rehab. Do you think he can really pick up where he left off?
Yeah, I mean, he's a putty guy. I mean, he's a tough, more of a fullback type guy. Brings a hard edge to the position. But we've got some elite guys in front of him. Pure tight ends. He's a little bit of a tweener, but he fills a niche for us and brings something to that group that makes us better. And there's no question. Yeah, he's a hard-nosed football player and brings again a hard edge that will be useful in certain situations. So we're glad to get him back and get him healthy.
It looks like they're pretty serious now about momentum for a 12-team playoff. Your thoughts?
Not surprised, and I mean, I'm not for it, but I wasn't for the 4-team. I don't ever get it right, but we just kind of keep on keeping on. Again, I was back when you asked me the 4. I'm like, nope, not for that either. I love the college game, and I loved it when it was a big deal to be top 25, top 15, top 10, and go win the bowl game. And yeah, a couple teams over here might, somebody's going to be the national champion or what. I mean, it's 130 teams, so I just always loved that, and I knew that when it went to 4, it was going to become all about the playoff, and when it goes to 12, it's going to become more about the playoff. But that's inevitable. It just is what it is. So, some people say, well, you've been to the playoff. Well, I mean, if we can get in with 4, we're going to get in with 12. Our odds aren't going to go down. So it's not about that. Our team isn't for it. I met with my team. Our team wasn't for it. They don't want to play more games. And to be honest with you, I don't think there's 12 teams good enough. So you're going to play more games just to play more games. And I think the more you expand it, the less important the season becomes. And, again, the more you become the NFL. As far as, all right, you're in the playoffs. Well, why play Trevor in this game? You're already in. Just play the other guys, And the more all of a sudden now you're not in the top 12, well, kids just aren't playing. I mean, I just think there's, again, unintended consequences. I get it, and I know why it's happening. It's going to happen. I mean, there'll be some. I don't know if it's 12 or whatever it'll be, but I think the bigger question is, where's college football going from a structure standpoint? I think that's if it's a 40-team league, I can see 12 teams. That might be kind of fun, but with 130 teams for one trophy. It's not like basketball where you can get 2 or 3 guys and this team over here can get hot and make a run in a tournament. This is a different deal. This is a game built in the trenches. There's not enough big, strong men in that offensive line and defensive line, to go all over the country to have many teams that have a shot at winning a national championship. So, and to me, it was never really about that, in college football. It was about the experience. It was about your team. It was about having the best season you could have. And I always, appreciated that. But that's just not where it is now. It's going in a different direction. And, just tell me the rules, and we're gonna go and we're gonna have fun with it. So I think it'll be a different experience. It'll be, fun as well. But there'll be some things that some people aren't going to like, as a result, and that just comes with change. But as far as I'm concerned, hey man, we're going to just get whatever the rules are. We're going to get our team ready to go play and compete. And if it's 12 teams, hopefully we can compete to be one of them. If it's 25, if they break off and have a Premier League, and if you don't do well enough, you get relegated to the other league. I don't know. Isn't that what they do in soccer? Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should have a 40-team Premier League with a 12-team playoff, and if you stink, you get relegated to the other level or something. I don't know.
President Clemens could block the expansion with his one vote. I'm sure he knows your preferences, but have you discussed it much with him?
Not a lot. Again, I don't have any influence on that stuff. My job is to coach the team. My job. Tell me the rules. We got a 12-team, 4-team, whatever it is. My job is to get the team ready to play. You just asked me a personal question. If I had a preference, I wouldn't have gone to 4, but that didn't work.
Sorry to interrupt, but Mac Brown also said his players were not in favor of the 12-team playoff. They favored 6 or 8. Are your players in favor of any expansion?
The commissioner had asked us we wanted to get the players' input. I didn't really know what our players were going to say, but they didn't get much enthusiasm. But these teams, our guys have a lot of experience of playing 14, 15-game seasons. It's a long season, and now you're talking about starting in July, adding games, playing games that, or taking games away from teams. If you take games away, then now you got teams that deserve to play that now they're not getting to play. They're not going to be a playoff team, and now they're playing less games. So it's just, it's a complicated adjustment for everybody, but there's a bunch of smart people working on it. They'll figure it out and come up with something good for everybody. But I think that's the biggest thing from the player perspective is especially from our guys. It's kind of interesting is they've got a lot of experience, and they have a very good perspective of the schedule and what it takes. So that was just their initial thoughts. And again, it could change. I mean, people change, people evolve as there's more clear. There's not a lot of clarity, but once there becomes more clarity and okay, hey, here's what it's going to be. Maybe the guys say, okay, well, we could do that. I don't know, but that was just the initial gut reaction from our team.
You guys have the Gamecocks on schedule, first time since 2019. How excited are you about renewing that rivalry, and how excited are you for Shane Beamer to be back at USC?
Yeah, well, I mean, that was something we all missed last year. I mean, it was disappointing to not be able to play that game, and for everybody, for the players, for the fans, the state. That's a long-standing game, and means a lot to everybody involved. So glad that we can hopefully again stay the course and get back to playing a full schedule. And I'm happy for Shane. I got a ton of respect for Shane. I've known Shane a long time. Just because he's at South Carolina, that doesn't mean all of a sudden I don't like him. I compete against a lot of friends, a lot of places, but he's a great person. He's a heck of a coach, and he'll do a great job. But excited for him and his opportunity, and look forward to competing against him. Certainly, again, just because he's at your rival, I mean, a man's got to have a job, right? I mean, there's a lot of people who don't like me because I wear a Paul. But, I mean, I got to go to work. I got to have a job, and we should all want to do a good job, with wherever we work. So it doesn't make me not like Shane Beamer. I think like I said, I love his family. He has great respect for his mom and dad, and his wife, and just it's a great opportunity for him.
Yeah, but you've got a lot of improvement projects coming up here at Poe, across the street. You look at it as a necessity? Is it more of like if you're not staying ahead of the crowd, you're losing ground?
No, we've been here 4 years, and we've got, we're blessed because we have space. A lot of places don't have space, but when we built this, we had a long-term vision, and I don't think you ever arrive. I think that can ever. We're always building. We're always under construction. That's kind of the mindset that I think you have to have if you're going to be great, and if you're going to sustain, being great. But just like anybody, you live somewhere for a while. You're like, yeah, I need to redo this bathroom, or the toilet don't work anymore. Whatever. Boy, I need to put a fence up. There's a lot of things you want to do when you first get there, but maybe you're like, well, man, maybe we ought to paint that garage floor now. So we're just settling in, and as you live somewhere, you kind of figure some things out, but we're just making it better. We're always learning. We're always growing. When we put the little barbershop in there, well, what did we learn? We didn't have no room for the barbershop. So we had to make it better. And the nap room was too big, so we made it a little smaller. We moved Milt's office, moved him upstairs, and it's a better fit up there. And man, the wellness and the prehab and dynamic movements and physical therapy and the applied science, all that stuff is how it has grown, being able to have the right space. It's like a men's spa back there with Bina every day, and we're out of space. And so we're fortunate, again, to be able to have a space we can build in, extend the castle. There's some things we've been needing to do. We haven't done anything in the indoor since 2012. We need to create some storage area. We need to redo the turf. There's several things in that project that we need to get done. We're going to build a space for name, image, likeness. The Clemson Athlete Branding Institute. I'm going to call it the CAB. Because what does a cab do? It gives you a lift to your destination, right? But guess what? You got to pay the toll. We can't do it for you. You got to pay the toll. You got to do the work. And so we're going to build a great space just outside the weight room over there. Really excited about that because it'll be a living, breathing space. It's stuff we've been doing forever. Just like Paul Journey when we built the Paul Journey space. We've been doing it forever, but when we came here, I was like, I want a space. And so, things change, things evolve, and so you have to adapt as you go along the way. And so this is just helping us continue to live that out right there. Best is the standard.
With Xavier Thomas, I think he tweeted out he's down to about 265, and I know that he was looking to drop a weight. Do you feel like that's a good weight for him? Do you feel like he's in a really good spot right now?
He's in a great spot. He was like 290 this time last year and couldn't run, couldn't practice. He was in a bad place. He had issues with COVID. He had couldn't train, isolation. Then he had strep throat. I mean, it was just a really tough thing for him. And so he was so far behind, and just physically. And then when you're not where you want to be physically, it affects you mentally, and it's a challenge. But he's in a great place. I mean, that's right where that's the ideal spot for him to be. So hopefully, and he's had a great summer. He's had a great since January. I mean, he has been like a man on a mission, and it's been awesome to see that. And hopefully, he can have the type of year that he wants to have. We want him to have. And we know he's capable of having. But I'm excited for him and that whole group.
When you look at the kind of quarterbacks that have come under Brandon Streeter, and obviously they're talented, but what has he done to just kind of help them hone in on that talent, really develop and put up big numbers in games?
Well, I think the biggest thing is evaluation and getting the right people in here. I mean, Street's done a great job, and then just our process of development at the position. How we meet, how we practice. I mean, the structure of our practice is a challenge. I mean, you don't just get to go out there and run the scout team or go against the scout team. I mean, we're a lot of good on good, when it comes to team pass and 7-on-7 and he's one-on-ones, and you don't have a lot of room for error on our practice field. And so to be able to have that is a great resource, because it allows you to really coach them at a high level off of tape. And then, but it goes back to the mental makeup and evaluation process, like who's coming in here, what's their love of football, what's their love of preparation, all those type of things. And Street's just done a great job, of that whole development process as we've gone through and kind of meeting them where they are and then getting them where they need to be. And DJ's just another example of that. Just a brilliant football mind. He's an incredibly gifted kid mentally. Gets it, loves to prepare. I mean, loves to prepare for the game. I tell the story. I don't know if I told the story or not, but I got the call from Danny Poole last year on Thursday before the Boston College game that Trevor had tested positive and wasn't going to be able to play. And I'm like, oh my gosh! I mean, it's about lunchtime, and I was like, man, I just kind of took a deep breath. So I walked down the hall to the office staff room, and they could tell something wasn't right when I walked in. I said, Trevor's out, and they're like, what? And then I said, yeah, which means he's going to be out next week too. We're going to Notre Dame, so it was just kind of like, oh boy. And then I told them, and then I said, look, I told Streeter, I said, I just talked to Trevor before I walked in. I said, hey, I'm gonna call DJ. I said, I want to sit down and talk to DJ. And he said, well, Coach, he's in the quarterback room. I just saw him in there. And I'm like, really? And so I walk out, and I walk in the quarterback room, and he's got his phone right there. He's eating some lunch, and he's in there, he's the backup, but he's in there as a true freshman, and he's by himself, and he's watching tape. He's preparing to go play Boston College. And I just think that's all you need to know about DJ. I mean, he was preparing to start the game before he even knew he was going to start the game. And it takes a special mental makeup for a young guy. But that's, again, he came all the way from California here to back up Trevor for a year. He could have probably started at 127 schools as a freshman, but he really valued who we are as a program, and he really wanted to come and learn. And I just think that tells you, his mental maturity at a young age. But, so a combination of the development, process that we have in place here with Street and the job he does evaluating these guys, what they get exposed to in practice every day, and how they're challenged. That's been a good combination for us.
outside of Justin or Frank and Joe and Bo Collins and everyone, are they all back healthy?
Yeah, everybody's in a good spot. You know, Bo had a little foot issue right at the beginning of the summer, but he's doing well. That's a position I'm excited about. Like I said, three of our best players didn't even play. I mean, Ross and Ngata and Latson. I mean, they were. I mean, we just couldn't catch a break there. So it was a crazy year that year, but that way. But hopefully we can be a little lucky, and our depth is totally different. The development of a Joe coming on, Bo and Dakari, man, those guys are going to be rock stars. And I haven't had a chance to see Troy yet because he wasn't here in the spring. So I'm excited to see him once we get out there. But it's a really, really good group, and if we're fortunate enough to get that number 8 back out there, that ain't going to hurt us either.
Take 2-3 more. You might not know the answer to this yet, but Diedrich Pennington, do you know if he'll rep guard or tackle again?
Both. I mean, he'll do both. Just like Marcus Tate will do both. We cross-train those guys all over the place because you just want to get the best combination of guys. But I tell you what, man, Dietrich and Marcus and Tristan Lee, and then Linthicum is he's the small one of the bunch, and he's a giant of a man himself. But those 4 guys that's about as good looking a freshman group as you're going to see in the offensive line. And man, really, really thankful that Ryan and Marcus was able to go through spring. So excited to see Dietrich when we get out there. But those guys will cross train. Because again, we got to figure out who's the best 5, who's the next 5. And if it means moving a guy to get the best, those are all kind of things you got to look at. But he's capable of playing either one. Not everybody's capable of that. You're not going to put Bockhorst out there to tackle. You're not going to ask Trotter to go out there and play tackle. Not that they wouldn't give you all they got, but that's not what you're going to ask them to do. But we've got several guys that could play inside and outside, and I think that's the type of versatility that you like to have in an offensive line.
Take 2 more.
Going back to that analogy with Chase Bryce in the year that he was here, do you feel like you have a backup right now that could be that guy where
Tyson's the backup.
But with Tyson, like to start the season?
To be determined. That's what we got to go spend a month of camp figuring out between Hunter and Will and Billy Wiles. Good news is we've got three really good young prospects right there. But I feel great about the season as far as Tyson goes and getting him back.
You obviously knew Darren was going to transfer somewhere, but was it a surprise that it was Georgia that he went to?
No. They're a great program and do a great job defensively, and it's a good opportunity for him. I'm just happy that he's at a good place and has an opportunity to finish up hopefully strong. Love DK and wish him all the best, man. In every game but the first one, I'll be pulling for him and really want to see him do well and hopefully he'll be able to achieve all his dreams the way he wants to.
All right, thanks everybody. We'll see you all in Charlotte on Thursday.